Hi guys, it's been quite a while since I've posted a new video. I had a video that I posted not too long ago on some of my favorite inexpensive watches made for various applications in the field. That doesn't necessarily mean field watches, so hopefully you guys were able to check that out if you do like the channel. I've gotten some really cool reception lately, and messages and comments from folks who enjoy what I'm putting out. And even if, you know, it's only a couple hundred subscribers, to me that's worth it, because I just like cool gear and cool stuff that we can use while we're camping and hiking and playing radio and doing whatever else. And that's kind of the goal, is to keep that going. So with that same theme, I wanted to show you guys something pretty neat today that I've put together over time and that I really enjoy. And we're going to talk more as the weather gets nicer here on the East Coast about ham radio, especially in the field. So this is kind of the first part of that. Before we do start, I want to do a quick wrist check, and this will be a watch that no one's seen me have here yet on the channel. This is the Seiko 5, and if you DM me, I can give you the exact model number, but you'll notice that this has Eastern Arabic numerals, not Arabic numerals. Arabic numerals, believe it or not, are the traditional, what most people would call English numbers. Those are Arabic numerals. These are Eastern Arabic, or Hindi numerals, if I remember correctly. So you'll see these in various parts of the Middle East. If you travel to different parts of the Middle East, some parts of Indo-Arabic countries, even India, you'll see these Eastern Arabic Hindu, sorry, not Hindi, Hindu numerals. And then you'll also see the Arabic, I don't know if it'll focus, the Arabic on the date window as well. But what's kind of weird is it does have regular Arabic numerals for the date number. So anyway, neat watch. These things really spiked up in price after an Instagram page called Watches of Espionage, who has a fantastic page, posted one of these. And admittedly, that's when I bought mine. I had been looking at one for months, and I couldn't really decide if I liked it. This is an automatic. It only has 50 meters of water resistance. And admittedly, I don't know what the quality's like so far, but I've been wearing it. I was traveling for work last week. I wore it a little bit for that trip, but mainly I brought some other watches. I had some meetings where a Seiko 5 didn't seem appropriate, so I took a couple of my other pieces with me. But I do have it on this really cheap NATO strap. I think this was $10 on Amazon. And I really like it. It's very lightweight. You don't really feel it. It's a nice little field watch. But what we're going to be talking about today is what I would call my grab-and-go radio kit. Now, a lot of people have bow fangs, and there's nothing wrong with that. I have one right here. That's a little tricked out from some of my buddies that have sent me some things. But there's nothing wrong with a bow fang. It gets you in the door. You can use it. It works. They've got, great battery life. They've got spurious emissions. But they do get you in the door, and they're $20. The option I'm going to show you today is the polar opposite. It is and was one of the most expensive HTs on the market, short of the Kenwoods that had every feature on the planet that are now even above $1,000 used. But what I'm going to show you today is one of the most rugged radios, if not the most rugged ever made. Perfect for hiking, camping, outdoors applications, and parks on the air if you'd like to. It is a multi-band, and I don't just mean 2 meter and 70 centimeter HT, and I keep it in a case that I'm going to talk about as well. So let's start with the case. First of all, for those of you who have followed the channel for a bit, you know I love Countycomm. I'm not paid by them, endorsed by them. I spend my own money there, and I've spent a lot of it with Countycomm. That's where this parts tray came from. Countycomm has these fantastic glow patches. These are Velcro backed, these suckers absorb light and glow like uranium in the dark, and they stay glowing for a very long time. You can actually use these to read maps in the dark. If you have a flashlight and you don't want to burn up the battery, you can illuminate this, use it to read your map or your documentation and not burn up your flashlight battery. Or you can leave it in the sun all day or in the evening, and then all night you're going to have a little bit of a source of light that you can use. I have one here, and I also have one on the front pocket zipper pull. I have a cool civil defense patch here because I'm a little bit old school and I think civil defense is neat. And now that there's a constant threat of nuclear war with Russia, I thought it was even more appropriate to have it on here, but I've had it on this pouch for a long time. And then very lastly, I have a Maritac zipper pull here and a little bit of Dyneema line on this zipper pull that actually goes around the antenna, so that if this comes unzipped, the radio can't actually fall out. It actually catches the radio. So let's talk about the pouch. This is a Maritac Extreme pouch from Countycomm. This is the smaller version. They do make a slightly larger one. It has Velcro all over the front. It has a carrying handle on the side. And it has a stitched bottom, so you can actually stand it up like this and it won't fall. They really thought this out for radios. This is what it's actually made for. It's a little radio pouch. Now this is all double stitched. It's tough like ballistic nylon stuff. There's a little belt loop right here. It's tough stuff. Now when you open it, and we'll start with the front, let me make sure I don't have any PII in here. I don't think I do. I don't. So in here you've got a couple Velcro loops for pens. This is the belt clip for the radio. I've got some pens here, some business card slots or what have you. I usually keep a miniature band plan in here, the ARRL band plan. It folds up. I currently have it in my POTA bag. And then there's some room for tools. So I've got, and I'll get to this later, I've got an extra antenna bit. I've got another glow tab. And I've got a Phillips head and a regular head screwdriver, mini screwdrivers from Countycomm, and a mini wedgie bar from Countycomm as well. You can see the Made in USA, US government marking on there. And that's all on some Countycomm reflective paracord. Just a couple tools to keep around. I also keep, a spare SD card because I fly my drone a lot for the local ham radio club. And then I also have an extra gasket for the radio, which goes on the top of the radio. You'll see that in a minute. Now the reason I have this extra bit of antenna, and I'll get the radio out now, is because this radio, the Yaesu VX-7, which has one of these wonderful Tough Possum Gear glowing donuts on it. If you haven't seen these, you can head over to Tough Possum Gear and get them. They glow just like the Countycomm stuff, but it's a cool donut. This radio is a quad band. It's marketed as a tri-band. The tri-band would be your, your 2 centimeter, 70 centimeter, and actually this is marketed as 6 meter. But you also get 1.25 centimeters. So you get 50 megahertz, 144 megahertz, 430 megahertz, and you actually get 225 megahertz. This attachment is for the antenna here. So if you wanted to do 6 meter, and this only does 6 meter FM, not single sideband, you would take the tip off, which does your 1.25, 70, and 2 meter. You would throw this on, which is your 6 meter attachment. Now you have a super long antenna on your HT, but you can do 6 meter FM. So that's one of the perks of this radio. I'm going to take this off and just throw it aside here because it's a little bit unwieldy with that attachment on. But so a couple reasons why I really like this radio. Does it have C4 FM, the digital mode from Yaesu? No. It does have Wires X. Have I used it? No. But it is quad band. And then the other great thing about it, it is all band receive it has air band, it has a marine band receive. So you can pretty much listen to whatever you need to. This has Voice of America programmed into it. I believe it has all of the other classic shortwave stations programmed into it. So you can listen to all those on this. I mean, all you would have to do is, you know, clip a long wire antenna with an alligator clip onto the end of this. And all of a sudden, you've got a great receiving antenna for your single sideband stations and other things around the world. So a couple other things with this. It's totally submersible, which is why you'll see that gasket that I mentioned earlier goes under the antenna into this port here where the headphones go. A gasketed power gasket and a rubberized power slot. This is all sealed here, as well as the speaker. This is all sealed under here. Now this does give it a little bit of a tinny sound on the receive end, but it's a really great radio. Again, submersible. It's also got some shock absorbers on the side. It's really fantastic.
39%.
So it's a little tinny.
At 6 miles an hour. Pressure 30.26 inches and rising.
But it's great. Now when I bought this radio, I bought it for around $200. I got a hell of a steal on it, because if you look at these things on the used market, they are super expensive, upwards of $400. For a used radio that's, you know, 10 plus years old, that's a pretty penny to pay. But what I did do is I contacted Yaesu. It was missing this gasket and cover. I got a replacement for 70 cents. And then this faceplate was all scratched up and dinged, so I got a replacement for it as well. Everything else was great. The buttons, fantastic, everything like that. But this radio has a ton of features. If you really read up on it, I mean, it's a kind of a big radio. It's almost as big as my hand. But if you read up on it, it's super neat. It's got a lot of features. Like I said, the battery life is good. There's a clip that can go on the back. You've got 6 meter, 2 meter, 70 centimeter, and 1.25 centimeters. And you've got an all-band receive with marine receive and air band receive. It's super cool to listen to the planes coming in near the airport, near my house. I mean, admittedly, it's like 35 minutes away from my house, but I can still hear them on their final and everything. Super neat to be able to listen to that stuff, and you don't get that on a lot of HTs that come out now. You'll get D-Star, and you'll get C4FM, and you'll get, you know, all that good stuff, the digital modes, and, you know, your other digital, you know, Bridgecom system stuff that they do. But there really is nothing like a good analog HT that's going to last. It's tough. It's going to stand up to the elements. You could do parks on the air with this thing. It's great for field day. It's just tough. I mean, these things last a long time for a reason. They're still expensive for a reason, because people really relied on them. So when I put together this little pack a while back, you know, my first thought was, this is exactly what maybe someone who's been into the hobby for a while would want to put together for the field if they don't want to bring around a big setup, if you're not doing HF or something in the field. And you just want to kind of play around and hit local repeaters and do some parks on the air with them. You know, it's a great way to get out there. Now, if you've graduated into something a little bit more intense, what you could always do, I have one here. This is also a Countycomm pouch that they made pretty much specifically for this radio, is the Yaesu VX-7. Now this is a all-band transceiver with VHF, UHF antenna on the front and HF into the back. I have an antenna tuner that's made for it. This has internal batteries, so you don't need a power pack. You don't need a power supply. All band. It's got I've got the capability to do FT8 and other digital modes, JS8 call and stuff like that, because I have a TNC, and I can do WinLink, all that good stuff. But, you know, this connects to a sloper antenna that I can configure any which way. And this is something that you might graduate to, right? But for the purpose of the conversation we just had, I really enjoy the VX-7. If you can snag one, they're great. VX-8s are great. I believe the VX-8 DRs have APRS. Really fantastic little radios, even though they're not that little. And you know, if you put together a pack like this, it doesn't have to be exactly like it, but I've been really satisfied with this. One thing that I missed out on saying was that the inside of this panel where the radio goes is all padded. Countycomm put together this I think it's called the tack soft or something like that, which is a piped on the side, a piped soft material, so you won't arbitrarily or accidentally or hastily turn your radio on in transport. It won't knock it around. It's protected, it's padded. I really like this setup. So hopefully you guys like it too. Leave comments if you have any questions. I usually try to get back to people. Sucks that I haven't been able to make more videos lately, but you know, everything's been crazy, and hopefully you guys like this. So we'll talk to you soon.